Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1621A, and today's date is July 23rd, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Next Phase in Bringing Down the Economy Has Just Been Launched. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. I uploaded a new interview on Sunday. It is with Lee Argance and Malay Panchal. You can find this on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. Or you can come over to the x22report.com or newssentinel.com site, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side. You can play the interview right there, or go to Steemit. That is steemit.com/@x22report. Now, for those who don't know already, Sean's channel, his YouTube channel, SGT Report, was taken down. He had like 345,000 subscribers. He put in about 8 years of work into this channel. Thousands of videos and interviews, they're all erased. So basically what happened was history was erased like it never existed. I mean, if you really think about it, it feels like it's 1984 where you're getting rid of the information, and if you get rid of the information, it's like it never really happened. Now, Sean has put a lot of work into his reports. I love his reports. I think they're informative. I think they're well-researched, and I guess what happened was he was getting too close to the truth of certain individuals, and they didn't want him to go any further. And he did start a backup channel called SGT Report 2. So what we need to do, and this doesn't cost you any money or anything like that, if you were subscribed on his main channel, SGT Report, you need to go over to his SGT Report 2 channel and subscribe there and build his channel back up. What we also can do, if you have a Twitter account, we can tweet to @TeamYouTube and politely demand that they reinstate his channel. I think they did this with Jordan Sather, and I had Jordan Sather on the Spotlight. I interviewed him, and we're going to be doing another interview very soon. So I think what we need to do is we need to go and tweet and politely ask YouTube to reinstate Sean's channel. And once again, if it can happen to Sean, it can happen to anyone. And we are seeing this happen right now, where if people get too close to the truth, they give them a strike, then they give them another strike, and then before you know it, boom, the channel's taken down. Sometimes, yes, they're brought back up, but once again, at this point, Sean has lost all of his work, and we need to support him. We need to show the establishment, the deep state, that, listen, you can't take away our channel and stop us. We'll start another one. People will support this, and we will build it right back up. So if you can, go to SGT Report 2. I'm going to have the links at the bottom of this video, and subscribe to his backup channel. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we know the central bankers, the establishment, they don't want to give up control of their currency. Now, that's the whole basis of their entire system, control over who creates the currency, because whoever creates the currency controls governments. Whoever controls governments controls what? The world. And when they see other countries not using the private Western central bank currencies, they are the enemy. When they see other forms of currency pop up, they have to squash them. This is why they've been suppressing gold and silver like there's no tomorrow. They don't want anyone to think that you can use gold and silver for anything else except for jewelry. Now, cryptocurrencies popped up. And what they're doing here is they have been demonizing cryptocurrencies. Why? Because they are very, very afraid of this. Now, there's two sides to this. One, they don't want this to go any further. They don't want people looking at cryptocurrency. The other side is they would like to develop something and they would like to have control over it. The problem is that it's very difficult to control a decentralized system. You would have to have all governments sign some type of law, and they would have to instruct their people to use the central bank coin. Because if you don't have that, they don't have control. But what they're doing is they're continually looking at cryptocurrency, continually looking at digital currency, and they're trying to figure out a way to get onto this. Now, there was a study which was commissioned by the European Parliament Committee on Economic and Monetary Affairs, ECON. It was published July 20th. It found that central banks issued digital currencies could be a remedy for the lack of competition policy in the crypto sector. Now, the study mentions cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin as a technological and operational paradigm that are a source of disruption for the entire sector, including monetary policy and financial stability. Other disruptive and innovative applications of new technologies include AI, cloud computing, biometrics, digital identity, blockchain, cybersecurity, and many more. Now, according to the study, since closed cryptocurrency systems require supervisory authority, central banks could be considering using permissioned cryptocurrency systems to complement or substitute the currencies already used. The study claims that the CBDCs will reshape the current competition level in the intercryptocurrency market by adding to the pool of competitors. Now, we need to think about this for a second. When they say permissioned blockchain, permissioned cryptocurrencies, what are they actually talking about? Well, right now, everything is unpermissioned. There's no one centralized individual or entity that is controlling it. Permission blockchain networks allow the network to appoint a group of participants in the network who are given the express authority to provide the validation of blocks of transactions. Someone who is in charge, someone who has control. This is what the central banks actually really want. They want control. And if you can, convince governments, convince everyone that, yes, we need to have a permission base where we need a entity that control, and of course it's the central bank that can control the blockchain, then everything would be fantastic. And this is really what they're trying to do. This is what they're trying to push. And we need to understand that the world right now is 90% digital money. 10% is not. So if you really look at this, about 6 trillion or approximately 10% of the world's current money supply is in the form of cash. The rest, the other trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars, they are digital. And the leap from going from their digital fiat system to a digital cryptocurrency, well, that's very easy to do. The one thing that is lacking from the central bank, the one thing that they want, is control. And this is what they've been trying to do. This is why they're continually having study after study come out. And of course, who's doing the studies? But it's those individuals in the establishment that want control of the system. So they're the ones who create the study. They're the ones who are telling you what they want. They're the ones who are demonizing the other forms of currency. They're the ones who are orchestrating all of this. And all the people need to do is say, hey, we don't need you. And the people, all they have to do is say, we're going to use cryptocurrencies and we're going to choose the coin that we want. Or maybe we'll have multiple coins to make it completely decentralized. And we'll be able to swap them back and forth with atomic swaps. So this way, nobody controls anything. And we can use this for payment, for receiving payment, and whatnot. And we won't need the central bank at all. Because the central bank is really the root of all evil. They're creating currency out of thin air, attaching interest to it, and then loaning it to governments. With a cryptocurrency system, there is no interest. What is created is what is created, and you pay it back one for one. That's it. That's how it works. But the central bank, they don't like that because they don't make anything out of it. That's why they need the interest, because without the interest, they can't enslave the people. They can't enslave the government. They can't enslave the population. And this is why they're trying so hard to fight against cryptocurrencies or take control over cryptocurrencies, whichever way they can, get this to happen. And they need to do this very, very quickly because the entire fiat system that they can control right now is falling apart. I mean, we talk about this, time and time again, how the global economy is imploding on itself. And the central bankers, they know this. They're running out of time. And their plans that they had, well, they're not going to work anymore. They can't create a war. They can't have any type of an event. So they're scrambling right now to figure out how they can take us and transition us into something new. Now, of course, they're starting the narrative, to build the narrative that it's Trump's tariffs. We know that the central banks are out there saying that the tariffs are going to slow global growth, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But you can see right now they're pushing this idea, and every indicator that we're looking at shows that the economy is continually slowing. Not because of tariffs. We've been showing that the economy's been slowing all along, and we said that it was going to get worse and worse as time went on, and this is exactly what we are seeing. We saw retail implode on itself, had nothing to do with online buying and things like that. That's what the corporate media uses, what the central banks use to cover up what is really going on here. What's really happening is the people, well, they're making less. They don't have the same jobs. They have part-time jobs. A lot of people are out of the workforce. People have a huge amount of debt, and they just can't spend the money. And we're seeing interest rates rise now because what the central bank is doing is they're pushing the economy to the edge. We see existing home sales right now. Well, they have declined once again. Now, they thought they were going to have this bump up in June, a rebound, but it didn't happen. Existing home sales tumbled by 0.6% month on month. They thought they were going to rise 0.2%. Why? Because during the summer months, real estate really picks up. But for the last couple of summers, we've been seeing real estate decline each time. And what we're seeing now is that this is the first in 3 in a row decline for existing home sales since January of 2014. So what we're looking at here is everything is breaking down. Retail's breaking down. Unemployment, people are losing their jobs left and right. They're manipulating the unemployment numbers to make you think that everyone's working. They're making you think that everyone has a job and they can't find workers. Well, if they can't find workers, salaries would be skyrocketing. Supply and demand. It's that simple. We see the tax receipts, they're declining. But the debt is moving up. We see right now that the push to bring down the economy, well, it was just launched. And it was launched in a big way. The final communique from the G20 is out. And it has been endorsed by Steve Mnuchin and the U.S. delegation. When we look at this communique of the G20, and we look and we compare the first paragraphs in the March and July communiques, where they had a pledge not to engage in devaluation of currency, well, it looks like things have changed. It looks like it's missing. What we see here back in March is we will refrain from competitive devaluations and will not target our exchange rates for competitive purposes. So that has been removed. So the global currency war just got the official blessing. Pledges made by the G20 member nations in their March statement to refrain from competitive devaluations, it was removed from the draft. And now it looks like the currency wars are on. And what do we see when we see all this? We see that both sides now, we have Trump making that statement against the Fed raising rates, saying that, whatever they feel is right, they should do. He's setting them up. We have the central banks raising the rates. This is what they did back in 2005, 6, 7, until everything started to fall apart. And then they dropped the rates very, very quickly. Actually, we're already hearing talks that they might drop the rate maybe in 2019, 2020, because they realize once they reach a certain point, they're going to start dropping them very, very quickly. Because we know from the mainstream media, they're talking about recession already. And, just a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, they're telling us how strong the economy was. Wow, how things change. And what has really changed here? Nothing. They're still using the same manipulated numbers, manipulated unemployment, manipulated GDP, manipulated everything else, and all of a sudden they changed their narrative. They did it on purpose. We see the IMF director, Christine Lagarde, at the G20 telling all the global economic leaders that they should be against the tariffs because the tariffs are going to wreck the economies of the entire world. And they're using this right now to show and to create this narrative that with these tariffs, the global economy is going to slow and we know who to blame. Now remember, what is happening here is Trump is not trying to protect the economy, to fix the economy, to make the economy better. He's using what was given to him and pushing it to the extreme. What was given to him? It was manipulated unemployment numbers. We talked about this way before Trump was in office. We talked about this when Obama was in office, when he took over the economy from Bush. And ever since then, we've been tracking the manipulation of unemployment, the manipulation of GDP, the manipulation of retail, the manipulation of real estate. And that has just continued. Because if you keep what they gave you and you don't change anything, they can't blame you for changing something. All you have to do is turn around saying, this is what you gave me. We've been using this. These aren't the correct numbers. What are you trying to tell me? I mean, it's brilliant. Then come out and say, hey, I don't like what the Fed's doing, how they're raising these interest rates. Why are they doing this? But if they feel it's right, we should allow them to do it. Well, that was a setup. Because you can go back in time now and say, well, you told us this was the right thing to do, and we all trusted you. You said we had to raise the interest rates, and you were raising the interest rates. What happened? And let the Fed explain this, and let the people get angry, and let the people force the individuals in Congress to push a bill to audit the Fed. Now remember, Trump and the Patriots, they're setting this economy up for after the collapse. And Trump right now, with everything that he's doing with bilateral trades and all this stuff, this is all being done for after the central banking system is completely gone. Now, on Thursday, Trump signed an executive order to make a workforce initiative that will help create apprenticeships and on-the-job training for U.S. workers in many different companies in the United States. And he also went on to say that we're also establishing an outside advisory board of industry leaders and experts, which we'll announce in the coming weeks very shortly. A lot of people want to be on that board very badly. I have some great people going on that board. The president said the executive order follows Trump's campaign promise to boost the American economy. And what is happening here with the bilateral trades, with trying to bring back manufacturing, this is all being set up for after the transition. You can't fix the central bank system the way it is. You need to bring it down and then start a new system that does not include the private Western central bank system. And that is what is being done right now. And this is why everyone needs to be prepared for this transition, because we're coming up to the point where I don't think, personally, from everything that we've been researching and all the indicators, that this economy is going to go that much further before things start to really break down. And we're starting to see it already. I think things are just going to accelerate as we move forward. And of course, the mainstream media is going to jump on this and start really, coming out there saying that the economy is not looking good, it's breaking down, and they're going to be pointing the finger because they're never going to give up on who to blame, and that is Trump right now, because that's their focus, the central bank's focus. Blame someone. We don't want to be blamed for it because we want to restart this system the way we want it to be, so we have full control. And that's their plan. Now, the Patriots' plan is to get rid of the central bank, is to blame them, to set them up for the fall. And we already see with Trump doing this interview, it has already started. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.